Hi, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. It is a very late stream. It is about 10:30 or 10:22 to be precise in the UK right now. So it is a late one. We don't normally stream at this time, but because it is midweek games, it is a knee-jerk live reaction. This is what we do it for you guys. So if you are, joining into the stream, make sure you do smash the like button. We're going to discuss game week 33. And we're also going to look ahead to game week 34, double game week 34. So, yeah, we're going to get into it. How you doing, Jordan? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's very good, apart from obviously what happened a few minutes ago. But apart from that, yeah, hopefully everyone else has had a great game week.
Yeah. Let's bring up our teams. I'll go up first. So, yeah, where do I start? It wasn't a great game week at all. It's probably my worst game week since like game week 28, 29. So as you guys know, I've been doing really well in recent weeks, getting a lot of green arrows. But I'll explain what happened. So a few frustrating things this game week, definitely with my team. So let's start with the goalie, Edison. Now, how Edison keeps conceding goals, I will never know, because every time I watch Man City, I'm thinking, yo, no one's gonna score against these guys. They're so like dominant, barely give up any chances. Man City do have the best defense in the league. When you look at it, like when you watch Man City play a game of football, the other team usually doesn't get many opportunities against them. Most of the game, Man City have the ball, they're dominating, and then what happens is, last 10, 15 minutes, they take the foot off the gas a bit, and usually the teams get a consolation goal against them. So very, very frustrating that Man City yet again concede when they should have kept a clean sheet. It was a very nice goal from Holding, don't get me wrong, but just annoying that Edison somehow manages to concede every game, even though Man City are usually dominant for like 85% of the game. Moving on to the disappointment, another big disappointment, and that is Botman and Trippier. Now, Newcastle did concede a goal against Everton in a 4-1 win. Newcastle won 4-1, big win for them, and they are now up to third in the Premier League. However, annoyingly, obviously, they conceded late. Botman was actually on for an 8-pointer. I was looking at the bonus points. Botman was on 8 points before that goal went in. So, I mean, that could have helped me towards it would have been a much smaller red arrow if Botman and Trippier kept clean sheets, because I did have the double Newcastle defense. It didn't pay off, but I'm not too annoyed either, because as you can see from our bench, Ben Chilwell and Luke Shaw also conceded. So, I actually went with the right pick. Botman outscored both of them. Again, Trippier, obviously, we know, no assists. Surprisingly, Newcastle have scored a lot of goals in recent weeks, and Trippier's not really been involved in them in terms of assists or goals. So that does come as a bit of a surprise compared to the start of the season. And then finally, to complete the back line, I've got Estupiñán, who only picks up that 1-pointer because, surprisingly, a bit of a shock, Brighton did lose 3-1 to Nottingham Forest as well. Yeah, yesterday night, I believe. Moving on to the midfield five, and it's not been a great week. So let's start with Grealish. Now, for those that don't know, Grealish is one of my transfer ins this week. I did bring him in for free, I believe, for Saka, I think it was. And go, look, Grealish, it's just one of those games, I guess. Man City did win very comfortably, 4-1, as I predicted. Man City would... Now, I think I said we were having this like discussion on Sunday, I think. And I think, Jordan, we had very varying views. We were like, it could be 3-2 Arsenal. I think no chance. Man City are going to walk all over them. And I just knew it. I had that gut feeling, because when it's that period of the season, Man City just look imperious right now. And look, it's unlucky Grealish didn't get any returns. I'm not too worried, though, about Grealish, if I'm being honest, because Grealish does have a very nice double game week to come. So I'm still very happy with my moves, which I'll come on to in a sec. So, yeah, Grealish 1 point are disappointing, but I'm hoping and maybe praying that he can bounce back in game week 34, which is a double for him. Moving on to Rashford. Now, I'm glad I kept hold of Rashford, if I'm being honest. He did pick up 2 bonus points as well at the end, I believe. Rashford, a goal and an assist. He carries on that form, especially post World Cup. Rashford has been, he's been scoring a lot of goals. I think that's now 16 goals for Rashford in the Premier League this season. So yeah, a great goal on the counter attack, left foot finish. Lloris had no chance, and also got the assist in he for the first goal. So good performance.
Forster.
Sorry, yeah. Rashford, sorry. Obviously getting the assist, didn't he? I swear.
Oh, you said Lloris.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, my bad. But yeah, either way, Rashford, very nice performance from him. Man United didn't win. I was surprised. I did think Man United would win that 2-1 I predicted, but Spurs did peg it back. Moving on to Salah, probably the most frustrating player, you'd say, for my team. I did bring Salah in for a -8, you could say, because I took out Saka. Unfortunately, Saka did blank. I took out Bruno, who did get an assist, and I took out Tony, who I believe blanked as well. So yeah, Salah comes in for a hit, and he hasn't paid off this week. So Liverpool did win 2-1 against West Ham in what was potentially a tricky game. We did mention Liverpool could potentially slip up in that game, but Liverpool did win. But Salah wasn't involved much in the attacking phases, in my opinion. I don't think he was that great in that game. I did watch that game. I had it on in the background. And unfortunately, for Mo Salah, it is a blank. It is 2-pointer. So on the face of it, it looks like I made a bad move, of course. But all hope is not lost for me in Salah, because I would have bought Salah in regardless. So maybe this blank is a positive, that maybe that puts people off bringing Salah in. That's what I'm hoping anyway. I'm hoping because of this Salah blank, people do underlook him again for that double against Fulham and Tottenham. So yeah, I'm still happy owning Salah for game week 34, but it's just unfortunate he blanked. We will come on to KDB with your team as well in a sec, who a lot of people might be tempted to go with now ahead of Salah, because we've seen in FPL, obviously he's a knee-jerk stream, but more people might be decided to go with KDB now after his 19-point haul. But I'm happy to go Salah over KDB still, and I'll come on to that in a bit. So yeah, to complete the midfield, Mitoma, he does blank in that 3-1 loss. Solly March, slight positive if you want to take it. He did pick up an assist in that game for the Brighton goal. That was nice to see Solly March get on the returns. And then moving up top, was there ever any doubt Haaland will smash Arsenal? Very, very unlucky, I think, Haaland in that game as well, because at the end, Haaland did score. I think he scored with the last kick of the game in the 95th minute. He scored pretty much a tap in. However, he did pick up 2 assists as well for the Kevin De Bruyne goals. And I thought Haaland, for those that didn't watch that game, Haaland was amazing, in my opinion. Apart from his finishing, let him down. He could have easily, had 3 or 4 goals if Ramsdale, Ramsdale did save Arsenal in that end. Obviously, KDB was obviously clinical as well. But yeah, I thought Haaland had a great game, and I think 4-1 flattered Arsenal. It could have been a lot worse. Haaland could have easily had a hat-trick. So yeah, 28-pointer. Yeah, look, there's no way I'm captaining anyone other than Haaland. I don't think he's that good. Honestly, he's a robot. And then moving on to Watkins, finally, he does blank yet again. That's now back-to-back blanks for Watkins after his hot streak. Obviously, Aston Villa did win 1-0. I think Tyrone Mings, another player, another differential who done well. But yeah, it was a very boring game. Not much to really say. Fulham were poor. Aston Villa just done enough to get the win, and yeah, it was a comfy 1-0 win in the end. So that is the team. On the bench, it is Kepa 1 point, Chilwell 1 point. So I was happy I didn't play any of the Chelsea guys. I wasn't confident on Chelsea. Luke Shaw is there. I did think Man United would concede, so Luke Shaw's on the bench, and that was correct move. And then Greenwood as well, who doesn't get me any points. Obviously, he doesn't play. So it is a red arrow, unfortunately, of about 17%. So you can say it's quite a big red arrow. I was 316k. I am now on 372k. I did take a -8, which on the face of it looks like a very bad move. But you know what? I had to do it. I wanted Grealish. I wanted Salah, and I'm still happy with my moves, because in game week 34 they both doubled, which we'll come on to. And so yeah, -8. That means I did get 51 points, and I think the safety score was like 63 or something last time I checked. So yeah, it's one of those game weeks, I think. Hopefully I can bounce back. Game week 34, we'll see. So that is my team. 51 with the hit. 372k overall rank. Let's move on anyway to your team, Jordan. I know you had a lot more luck this week, and you were on wildcard as well for 33, and it went quite well. Talk us through how your game week's gone, obviously.
Yeah, it's been a very, I'd say, lucky week on the wild card. But we'll start off with Steele, the Brighton goalkeeper. Obviously, Brighton did lose massively to Nottingham Forest 3-1. I didn't watch this match, and I was wondering why Steele had 10 points, but I didn't realise Nottingham Forest did have a penalty, and Brennan Johnson obviously was taking it, but Steele saved it, and because he saved the penalty, that's a 5-pointer from him there. And then 1 for the saves, 1 point for making 3 saves. And then he gets the bonus 3 on top of that. So after, even though Brighton lost 3-1, still managed to get a double haul 10 points, which was quite fortunate that he actually saved that penalty in that game. So
Also,
I'm quite happy.
The other question, I didn't realize you played Steele. I thought you had Edison playing on the deadline stream. When did you switch it?
I switched it the last second before the deadline stream ended.
Damn, I didn't realize. So yeah, when I saw your team, I'm like, oh, you actually benched Edison. So that was a good move there, to be fair.
It was a very, very quick move to make before the deadline stream ended.
Yeah.
But I did think Edson may have conceded if obviously there was substitutions. It always happens with Man City.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a nice double haul return for Steele in goal for a 10-pointer. Moving on to defence, obviously Trippier. Even though Newcastle won 4-1, another massive result for them. Everton still scored in that game. I think Dwight McNeil scored in that one, so the clean sheet was wiped for Trippier. Moving on to, this is a very interesting one. Tyrone Mings scores the only goal, which gives Aston Villa the 1-0 win against Fulham. And he gets the bonus 3, a clean sheet, and obviously the 6 points for the goal he scored. Ironically, this could have ended up as an own goal for Tyrone Mings as well, because if it wasn't ruled off of offside, Tyrone Mings possibly could have had an own goal as well on top of that. So I'm quite lucky it was offside for his own goal. So he gets a 15-pointer. So a nice double haul for Tyrone Mings. Moving on to the last defender, and again is Trent. And obviously Liverpool won 2-1 against West Ham in that very almost an upset there. But Trent does get the assist from one of the goals scored, which again, it's like 4 games in a row now where Trent has managed to get 1 assist. So he is returning despite Liverpool not keeping clean sheets.
Yeah, that's 5 assists now for Trent this month. 5 assists in a month of April, which is more than, I mean, I think that's the most he's ever had in a single month calendar or like a month. And I think that's now 6 or 7 assists for Trent, which is mad.
Yeah, so definitely this inverted right back position is working well for him, as it's been producing many results in terms of that. But yeah, very successful in defence apart from Trippier. Moved on to the midfield, obviously Man United played Tottenham a few moments ago. Very annoying that Man United lost. Well, not lost, they drew, but they lost the lead after being 2-0 up, and then obviously Tottenham scoring, making it 2-2. So it was very annoying how Man United just dropped off in the second half and let Tottenham have more chances. But Rashford did score and got the 5 points, and he did get an assist as well in that game. And he got a 10-pointer, but obviously he got a bonus on top of that, bonus 2, so that leaves him with 12 points. He was on to get a bonus 3, but when Harry Kane got that second assist, it did take it away from him. But he still got a bonus 2. Moving on to Martinelli, obviously this was it's actually backfired. I obviously thought Arsenal would have more juice in the tank against Man City, but obviously that was a fantasy. Man City did win 4-1 against Arsenal. Only Rob Holding was the goal scorer for the Arsenal goals, and Martinelli did come off in the 59th minute. So only 1 point for Martinelli, and no returns for Arsenal. Moving on to the most
this is big.
Yeah, this is massive from Kevin De Bruyne. I think this is his highest return this season, and it's a 19-pointer for Kevin De Bruyne. He scored 2 goals in that game. He got 1 assist, 1 for the clean sheet, and on top of that, got the bonus 3. it was an impressive performance for KDB in that game. Absolutely wonderful. I couldn't believe when I saw that game that De Bruyne would get 2 goals from it.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I don't think a lot of people realize, De Bruyne has scored against Arsenal the most out of any team he's played in the Premier League. So he actually has a very good record against Arsenal, which maybe people didn't look before the deadline. Or so yeah, he actually has scored. I think that's 8 or 9 goals against Arsenal now.
So yeah, there we go. He was very underlooked for this fixture. I was very surprised at it, but I'm glad that I did bring Kevin De Bruyne in because that was a massive game changer in terms of the wild card to bring him in. It was interesting to see in that game though. Kevin De Bruyne was playing ahead of Haaland in like the very first half of that, so I guess that also contributed as well for Haaland feeding Kevin De Bruyne, whereas normally it would be the other way around, where Kevin De Bruyne would feed Haaland. But yeah, 19 pointer for De Bruyne. I'm very happy with that in the midfield. Moving on to the last midfield, and that is Mitoma, who did blank in that 3-1 loss to Nottingham Forest. So yeah, quiet game for Mitoma. Not very much from Brighton still. I think they're still recovering from that defeat against Man United in the FA semi-finals, but hopefully they can bounce back in their next fixture. Moving on to the front three. Obviously, this is really annoying. I know I've had a great game week, but this is really annoying from Isaac, who was benched in that Newcastle and Everton game. He only came on for 16 minutes after being substituted off for, I think, Matt Longstaff, substituted
Longstaff, okay.
So, yeah, I wish Isaac played in that game because I could have imagined him getting 2 goals in that potentially. I know Callum Wilson scored 2, but I can just vision Isaac getting a massive haul in this game where Newcastle won 4-1. So I'm quite annoyed that he was benched in that game, but he got 1 point for coming on at least. So at least that's better than nothing, I guess. Moving on to the captain pick this week, obviously that was Haaland, scoring the 1 goal, getting 2 assists from KDB's 2 goals, and obviously getting a bonus 2 on top of that. So yeah, another nice return for Haaland. This was kind of expected, in considering how Arsenal have been in the past few matches and obviously what season Haaland's having. But he does get a 28 pointer with the captaincy over him. So he was the second best captain. I guess De Bruyne was the best one. You can get 38 for him, but I'll take 28 from Haaland. And the last player in the team, and that is Ollie Watkins, who has his 3rd blank in a row now. So this is quite interesting what people do with Ollie Watkins now, even though Aston Villa won 1-0 against Fulham. It's a 3rd blank for Ollie Watkins, and maybe a few managers now are considering.
No, it's 2 blanks. 2 blanks in a row because he blanked against Fulham and Brentford, because before that he was a 16-pointer against Newcastle.
Oh yeah, against Newcastle. Sorry, yeah. So a back-to-back blank for Watkins. So I guess a lot of managers would be considering what to do with him.
Maybe Man United next as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough fixture. And
I think it could be okay, but we'll talk about it all.
Yeah, it's an interesting talking point with Watkins. Obviously on the team bench, we've got Ederson, who got 2 points because that late conceding goal. McAllister, 2 points for him. Luke Shaw, obviously 1 point for him. And Kilman surprisingly got a clean sheet. And I'm quite surprised with Wolves because they seem to getting clean sheets more. That's 3 clean sheets in their last 4 games.
Yeah.
So it was a surprise against Crystal Palace winning 2-0. But nothing I could do with that, really. I wasn't going to play Kilman over Trippier, Mings, or Trent. But overall, it's been a massive game week 33, and the wildcard has paid off. I got 97 points and a massive green arrow. My old rank was 582k. So I'm now up to
the 338.
Yeah, 338k. So yeah, it's a the wildcard really paid off. Very successful, and yeah, that's basically my summary of game week 33.
Okay, nice. So a big week for you really to climb nearly 200k places. Obviously, wildcard paying off. Not as successful for me this week, but we'll come on to game week 34, double game week 34, which we're going to talk about and look at. We're lining up going into that game week, which I think is a big one because I've taken hits to prepare for this, I guess. We'll take some questions. from you guys, and then we'll also bring up our team. So bear with me for a sec, actually, while I bring up what my team looks like for game week 34. So share my screen. So I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see a better view. Can't see the bench, but just for now, I'll leave it like this. So this is without any transfers right now. Obviously, took a -8 last week, so I have quite a few doublers. So let's start with what my team looks like. Actually, before we do, let's get some questions in. Actually, we're going to speak about KDB and Grealish, etc. So let's actually do this first. So Ederson is in my goal for Double Gameweek 34. I'm quite, even though Ederson hasn't done great, I'm quite happy to own him. I think Fulham away, West Ham at home. I'd expect at least one clean sheet in that game, possibly against Fulham. So I think Ederson is one of the better goalkeepers to have for Double Gameweek 34, if I'm being honest. Moving on to the back three, I've got Luke Shaw, who has Aston Villa and Brighton, which looks like a decent game on paper for Man United. They have just conceded of twice to Tottenham, but it's a double game week. So, yeah, I'm going to play Luke Shaw. Estupiñán, again, he has a double game week against Wolves and Man United. Trippier, on the other hand, has Southampton at home. Now, there is going to be a question regarding Trippier. I think I'm going to bench Trippier this week. I know he's got Southampton at home, and that could be haul-worthy, but Trippier has blanked in recent weeks when players like, the Newcastle have been winning 4 goals, 5 goals, and Trippier has been blanking. So I'm going to try take that massive risk. I know how highly owned he is. I'm going to bring in Trent, and I'm going to bench Trippier. So my transfer probably will be, I'll show you guys on the bench. As you can see, Ben Chilwell is on the bench. I'll probably take him out, Chilwell to Trent for free, and then I'll start Trent, who's got a double against Tottenham and Fulham. 2 home games, so I'm 100% bringing Trent in, and most likely going to have to bench Trippier. So that is the current transfer plans for Game Week 34. On to the midfield, I've got Solly March and Mitoma, who do have a double game week again against Wolves and Man United. So I think I'm happy to own double Brighton midfield. Rashford has Aston Villa and Brighton, which again, I think is a good fixture for Rashford, especially, Rashford getting a goal and an assist today. I think you definitely want him in your double game week 34 team. Moving on to Salah. Obviously, coming off the blank against West Ham, I did bring him in early for this double because I knew I wanted Salah. Salah has Tottenham at home and Fulham at home. So 2 nice home fixtures. And look, I need a massive game week from Salah. He has to deliver for me, because if he doesn't, obviously the moves won't have worked out for me. But I'm expecting something big from Salah. He's on penalties. And because it's 2 home fixtures at Anfield, I am confident that Salah can get me something in that game. So I'm happy to hold Salah. And I think Salah, on the subject of Salah, this comment from Sinu, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, it kind of links in. KDB is essential for double gaming 34. Now, this is going to be a talking point now a bit, because a lot of us have Salah. Some of us have KDB. Obviously, KDB is lower owned. And people are going to be in this situation now. Who do you actually go get? Do you go get Salah for his double against Tottenham and Fulham? Or do you go get KDB against Fulham and West Ham, especially after him getting 2 goals against Arsenal? One slight thing to note about KDB, he's currently flagged in the FPL app. And after the game last night, Pep Guardiola did say KDB asked to be substituted due to a little niggle in his leg. So I don't know how serious KDB's injury is. I'm assuming he will be fine, but there is definitely a possibility where KDB could miss one of those games. I would not be surprised in the slightest if KDB misses one of those games, especially because Man City do have Champions League game coming up against Real Madrid, and that will take priority, because I do believe Man City now may I don't want to say rotate, because obviously the league ain't done, but they will have to manage games with KDB, I think. But I'll get Jordan's. I don't know if you've seen that, Jordan, about KDB obviously having the niggle on his leg. I think he'll be fine, but obviously there is that slight worry.
Yeah, there is that slight worry that he may be benched, maybe for one of the doubles. But I think it's similar to Bruno Fernandes's sort of leg issue. I mean, it looked dire when you saw the picture of him posted on Instagram in the leg brace and whatnot. But I think because of KDB deciding to be substituted off, I think that's a bit of reassurance that it's not serious. Like, he just wants to rest, and we'll have to see what Pep says, obviously, in his conference. But it's not as serious as it may seem. I mean, he looked fine after he went off.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. It's just I think he could get benched for one of those games because it is a quick turnaround. I think looking at the fixtures for Man City, they play on Sunday against Fulham, and then they play again on Wednesday against West Ham. And then they have another game the following Saturday on the 6th of May against Leeds. So that's 3 games in about 7 days. Can you see KDB starting all 3? Possibly, I can, but that's the only slight worry you could have with KDB. 3 games to come in 6 days, and especially for someone who obviously complained about injury. But look, about the Salah KDB thing, one thing I will say about the Salah KDB debate that might pop up now is if you are chasing rank, like for example, Jordan last weekend, you were chasing because obviously you're around 500k, you wanted to be different, and you bought in KDB, definitely paid off. So if you guys are looking to be different and you want to chase rank, KDB could be the way to go because obviously he's a lot lower owned than Mo Salah. So that's one thing I will say about KDB. If you are chasing, he is tempting. For me, I'm still glad I got Salah in my team, if I'm being honest. If I had to pick right now, it's hard to say because I am chasing as well a bit, but I'm quite happy to own Salah because of the 2 home games and the fact that I know Salah's going to play both the games 90 minutes. So for me, it is a lot closer. I think if obviously KDB just come off the back of a 19-point haul, so a lot of people will be thinking about him. If Salah got the 19-point haul and KDB blanked, the roles will be reversed, etc. But you've got to make that call. If you're chasing, it could be worth going KDB, but look, Salah could easily score against Tottenham and Fulham as well. So I think it's a lot closer than people might give it, in thought about it. But I'll get your opinions, guys. Who are you bringing in? Are you going to go to KDB? Are you going to go to Salah? I'm still happy to own Salah for this double game week against Tottenham and Fulham at home. So yeah, that's where I stand with it. And moving on to Grealish, I do have Grealish in my team to complete the midfield. He's got Fulham away and West Ham at home. Obviously, KDB had the haul for a Man City midfielder. However, Jack Grealish has been outscoring KDB as well. In recent weeks, he did have a 12-point against Southampton, a 12-point against Liverpool. So I'm hoping Grealish can get a couple of assists or maybe a goal in the coming weeks. It'll be interesting to see now what position KDB and Grealish play with. Obviously, KDB was playing a lot more advanced in the attack. So Grealish, I don't think he was that deeper. I just thought Man City, the way they played, it was more KDB was playing like a Bruno role. Like he was joining up with the attack as much as he could. Like he was trying to get close to Haaland, playing 1-2s with him. So I'm still happy to own Grealish. Obviously, KDB is a lot more expensive to fit him in. It's either Salah or KDB for most people's teams. But yeah, Grealish for me is still a hold, and I'm happy to own him for the double in 34. And finally, moving on to the attack, I have Watkins, who's got Man United at home. I think I'm going to play Watkins against Man United at home. I still see that fixture being decent for Watkins, and I can see Watkins potentially getting some returns, maybe a goal or an assist in that game. So I'm fairly happy to own him. I can get to Jota, but it's going to cost me a -8, and I'm not sure I want to take another -8 to bring in a Jota, if I'm being honest. But I could do Jota in, but as I said, -8, is it worth it? Probably not. And then finally, to complete the team, I've got Haaland, who's got Fulham away and then West Ham at home. So again, good fixtures for Haaland, great fixtures for Haaland. I think he's looking great. Man City are looking great. And if you've not got Haaland, you should just bring him in now, because it could be one of those game weeks where he gets a hat-trick or something. So yeah, that is the team. That leaves me with, obviously I'm going to do Trent. Trent's going to come into the team, so that will leave me with 10 double game week players. So I'm very happy to own 10. I think Watkins is going to stay, and that will be my team for double game week 34. I just want to add, guys, before we do move on to Jordan's team, make sure you guys do press the like button. Make sure you do smash the like button if you are here. There's about 16 of you in here. If you haven't already, make sure you drop the like, and also make sure you are subscribed as well to our channel. We are very, very close to 800 subscribers, and that is a target for the end of the season. So please get us to 800 subs and smash the like button as well. All right, that's my team out the way, Jordan. That will leave me with 10 double game week players for game week 34. Let's bring up your team. Show us how you're lining up, and yeah, what your early thoughts are in terms of transfer plans.
Okay, so here is what my team looks like in Double Gameweek 34. So let's kick it off with we've got Steele in goal, who has Wolves and Man United both at home. Now, I think after Edison's last performance, I think I'm going to put Steele in for this double. I don't think I'm going to put Edison in for this double game week.
That's a surprise.
It is a surprise, but I think because every time Pep does substitutions, that's when Man City concede. It's a pattern that I've watched every game where Edison obviously lets in one goal, and it's always after the substitutions are made for Man City later on in the game, and that loses the clean sheet for him. It happens so many times that I don't have the confidence to actually start Edison anymore. So I've opted to go with Steele, as he did outscore him as well in the last game week, obviously, with his 10-pointer for saving that penalty. But I think I have more confidence in Brighton getting a clean sheet more than Edison will in that double at the current moment. So yeah, I'm going to put Steele in for this double, I think. Moving on to the back three, obviously I've got Trippier as a single game week player in Southampton at home. I'm very wary because even though Trippier has been really quiet in terms of returns and not many clean sheets for Newcastle so far, it's still at risk of benching him or getting rid of him and whatnot, especially with Southampton at home. Newcastle are scoring goals like no tomorrow, winning 6-1 and then winning 4-1 in their previous game week. Yeah, I'm definitely going to play Trippier as a single game player at home who has Southampton. Moving on to Shaw, he's got Aston Villa home and Brighton away. Very tough, I say double for clean sheet potential, but Shaw does show attacking threat during games, so I will play him just because he can show that attacking threat in defence. Moving on to Trent, he's got 2 home fixtures, Tottenham and Fulham at home. As we've mentioned before, because Trent now plays in this inverted right back position, we're seeing more consistency in terms of like assists, for example. He's had much more returns now playing in that position. So Tottenham at home, Fulham at home, 2 teams which are struggling, and at Anfield as well. I think Trent will have a good double game week. Moving on to the midfield, we've got Rashford, who has Aston Villa at home, Brighton away. He's on a quite good form, like coming off a 1 goal, 1 assist from that Tottenham game. And it's a tough double, but there's no reason why Rashford can't still score with either Aston Villa or Brighton or both teams. There are teams that do concede still goals, and Rashford is mainly the goal scorer for Man United. And as long as he keeps fit, he should be raring to go for that double. Moving on to De Bruyne, obviously, massive talk. We've spoken about him. His yellow flag being a worry for those who own him and those who have transferred him in. But it's a time to tell sort of thing, close to the time where we'll have to see what happens with De Bruyne. But he's in my team. I'm glad I've brought him in early for this double anyway. No matter what happens, if he just plays one, I'll be happy with that. Moving on to the Brighton midfield, so we've got Matoma and McAllister. This looks like a pretty good double. Obviously, Wolves at home, and then Man United at home. The Wolves at home one I feel like is going to be more of a success, I think, from the Brighton assets more than the Man United one. But Man United do concede goals as well, and obviously Brighton do get a few penalties here and there, so McAllister could potentially get a penalty for one of these doubles. And Matoma obviously shows great form and dangerous threats on the attack, so I'm hoping something big from Brighton, as they have struggled in the previous game, so hopefully they can bounce back in this double. Moving on to the front three, we've got Watkins, who has Man United away. Now this kind of clashes with Shaw, but Watkins is a single game week player, so we'll have to see with Watkins. That could easily change. I could easily take him out, but for now, he's starting in my 11, and he is a single game week fixture. Moving on to Isaac, he's got Southampton at home. I'm kind of wary now whether Isaac starts this game or not, because obviously he was benched last game. This is what I was speaking about many weeks ago when obviously Isaac was a hot topic. He's the problem with rotation with Wilson, and obviously we saw that tonight where he was benched and Wilson started, and then Wilson scored 2 goals, and Isaac, he could have had an assist, but it was taken off of him. Not to mention in that game, but yeah, that's just how it goes with Isaac. It's a roll of the dice whether he plays, whether he starts, but he'll obviously get minutes, but not many minutes if he is benched. Moving on to the final player in my starting 11, that is Haaland, who's obviously the catch pick as well. He's got Fulham away and West Ham at home. A nice double, I'd say, for Haaland against 2 teams which are sort of struggling as well in the Premier League, and Man City in this current stage of the season looking pretty strong after winning against Arsenal 4-1. So obviously Haaland's going to be the captain pick again. I think for the rest of the season now, I think he'll be a captain pick. I don't think anyone else really is up to the level of Haaland. So yeah, that's going to remain on him. And obviously on the team bench, we've got Edison, Martinelli, he's got Chelsea at home, Mings, he's got Man United away, and Kilman, who's got Brighton away. So obviously, because I wildcarded, obviously in game week 33, I am going to use another chip in game week 34, and it's my last chip. And I will be using my triple captain chip on Haaland for this game week. That is pretty much my plan so far. I haven't considered really transfer plans at the moment, but I am definitely 100% using my triple captain on Haaland for this double against Fulham away and West Ham at home.
Any early initial thoughts in terms of who you would transfer out if you was going to make a move? Who do you want in your team potentially that you don't have? Like, you're looking at bringing in maybe? Are you happy to go with your team and roll potentially? But it is a double.
Yeah, I could get away with rolling because I have 7 double game week players. Well, if you count Edison as well, that's 8. So
no, you have 8 playing. You have 8 starting. Yeah, we'll probably steal as well.
I forgot about steal. Yeah, I have 8 double game week players, so I could get away with that, I guess. I don't need like 11 double game week players. I think 8's a considerable amount. I'll probably have to think about it, if I'm honest. I would probably transfer out Martinelli, though, if I had to transfer out a player for someone, and then, just because the way Arsenal game went.
Then if you transfer out Martinelli, then that would mean you have to bench one of Watkins, Isaac potentially as well.
Yeah, that is.
If you play the 5 midfield.
It is sort of a benching headache. Maybe I could change Martinelli to Greenwood as a non-playing. Oh, not Greenwood. Andreas or someone cheap like that, just to save more money elsewhere if I need to bring in someone. But
if you don't need it this week, then
I probably could get away with rolling if I'm honest, because I am going to use my triple captain this week. So I could potentially roll double game week 34.
FPL Boo Boo, hi duo Jordan. Martial may start one of the double. He didn't start tonight. What's your view on Martial?
Yeah, that's on Martial. It's a funny one because obviously he didn't start. He did play minutes though today. He did substitute off for Sancho.
He played half an hour, yeah.
But yeah, Ten Hag did mention though, when he was asked about it before the match, Sancho starting with Martial, he says obviously that's rotation. He likes to keep the team fresh. He doesn't like to overplay players like Martial because he is an injury-prone player. So he doesn't want to push him too much in case he gets a relapse. So Ten Hag will switch players in and out. It doesn't mean Sancho is going to play both doubles. It could mean Martial plays one, and Sancho plays the other. So yeah, it is a possibility, FPL Boo Boo, that Martial may start one of the doubles.
I'm not keen on it. He's just way too risky. You don't know what you're going to get. He probably start and get injured, and then you'll be out for 3 weeks. He's just one of those players. I don't think I'll be going there. But if you want to take that risk, it could be worth it. Keep Kane and bring in Fernandes, or bring in KDB and sell Kane. Who are you bringing in, Jordan? This question. I mean, you might say KDB.
Yeah,
Where it's going.
the way it went, I'll probably say KDB because the way Fernandez missed a massive opener today, he managed to hit the crossbar. I don't know how he managed to do it, but I didn't feel with much confidence either. Fernandez only getting the assist, but with KDB on the other hand, Man City, you see more strong vibes around him after 19-pointer he got as well. So I'll probably bring in KDB.
Yeah.
As much as that sounds, sell Kane, which sounds crazy after getting an 11-pointer after today.
He does it again. We said that,
Yeah.
Man United, we said Tottenham will probably lose, but Kane will probably still get a goal, but he got 2 assists. I'd probably go KDB right now. KDB does have a very nice game as well, Fulham and West Ham. The only thing, obviously, wait for Pep's press conference, see what he says about KDB. So that's the only thing I'll say in regards to KDB in that sense. But yeah, look, KDB got good fixtures coming off the back of 2 goals as well. And he's low owned as well. I don't know how low owned he will be. Maybe a lot more people will bring him in now. I don't have a bench boost. My current 15 players are Steele, Everson, Trent, Shaw, Trippier, Pinnock, Shaw, Salah, Rashford, Mitoma, March, Grealish, Haaland, Jota, Watkins. I think, yeah, you're in a good position, mate. You sold Kane, assuming that's a Jordan. You got rid of Kane last minute. No, you were never going to go Kane on your wild card, were you?
No, I wasn't going to go with Kane. The plan was going for De Bruyne instead for my wild card.
Aston Villa and Brighton, I can't see a clean sheet for United. I agree. I don't see a clean sheet for United in that double, but I'll still play Shaw anyway in case.
Case gets the attack and return.
Yep. KDB always hauls against Arsenal. Yep, I did mention that. KDB actually has a very good record against Arsenal. I might even captain Salah if I got the guts. Can see Alvarez start one of them. I don't know. I think Haaland might play both and come off early. It's hard to say. We have to factor in Champions League is very important for Man City. Playing against Real Madrid is a massive game, semi-final. When is that? I'm just going to double check when that first leg is.
Is it 9th of May?
I'm actually going to... 9th of May. You're correct. So they play Fulham on Sunday the 30th. Then they've got Wednesday, they've got West Ham midweek. Then they've got Saturday, they've got Leeds. And then they've got... So maybe we see rotation in that Leeds game in the game week 35. It's hard to say what Pep's going to do, if I'm being honest, because I do think they would want to keep... especially if Arsenal keep faltering. That Champions League game is massive for Man City, and it's one to watch. But I do think Haaland will play both and maybe come off if it's Man City are comfy 3-0 up or a half time, etc. We've seen Pep do that in previous games, and Haaland has scored 2 before half time, and he's come off early. Yeah, Foden's also back, so Man City are now in prime gear really to attack all competitions. I don't believe they have any injuries apart from Ake in defense. So Ake. Yeah, apart from Ake, yep. I think they're in a full team. So they're looking very good, very strong. And they're on for a treble as well. So it's good times for a Man City fan. Getting on the wrong end of my 50-50s. Fernandez over Salah, Kane over Solanke cost me 8 points. But yeah, I mean, I kind of feel your pain. I bought in Grealish and Salah, and they blanked, whereas Fernandez got an assist. How many points did Fernandez end up on tonight? Was it like 6-pointer or something?
I think it was 5.
5-pointer. I'm trying to double check. Where is Bruno? He got a 5-pointer, yes. But he's now back for the double, so if you have Bruno, I'll probably still hold him, if I'm being honest. I still think he can get something in that game against Villa Brighton. But I can see why you'd be tempted to move him to maybe KDB, Salah, etc.
Yeah, and he could have easily scored.
Yeah, hit the crossbar. Also, he had another potential assist, I think. I can't remember one. I think he chipped it to Ericsson or something. I can't remember. In one of them in the game as well. Best thing is a UCL after game week 35, 3 games for PL than UCL. Yeah, but they could rotate just before that to keep players fresh, or in terms of even minutes, early substitutions. We've seen Pep do that if Man City are winning comfortably, then you could see Haaland, etc., maybe come off at half time. But if he's already scored 2 goals, I guess no one would care. Started Kepa over Raya. Yeah, Chelsea. I don't know what to say about them, really. They lost 2-0 to Brentford. Very weird goal that they conceded, an own goal by Aspilicueta, and then a nice goal on by Mbeumo. But with Chelsea, the problem is they cannot score goals.
And that's been the problem this season. I mean, there has been an interesting stat. If Chelsea lose all their games, they have the possibility to be relegated.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're not on 40 points yet, are they? But I think they are 10 or 12 points clear from the bottom 3. So they should be fine. But look, it's a season to forget for Chelsea, definitely. Where are the Chelsea are now 11th with 39 points. So they are 10 points in front of Leicester, who are 18th. So it's very unlikely, but yeah, that 40-point mark is still. Most of these points are from Tuchel back in September, when they haven't really won a game since Tuchel left.
It's been
They've only won the odd couple games since Tuchel's gone. I don't know how many wins do they have post Tuchel. Can someone let us know in the chat? Since Potter and Lampard, how many wins have they got? Maybe 2 or 3. I can't remember. Might start Salah till game week 36. 37 Salah out, Bruno in. United doubling 37, way better than 34. Yeah, I think you could get rid of Salah in 36, 37 when he doesn't have a double left, and Bruno will, which is a lot better. When I think one of the games is Chelsea and Bournemouth for Bruno in 37.
Yeah, much better double.
Grealish will get benched too. Foden is back. He will play on the left when he came on. Yeah, even Grealish, Mahrez, with City, there's always that issue where they could get benchings because they have such a strong team and they're going deep into all competitions. Is Trippier essential or is worth going for a triple up in midfield or attack considering their current form? I think this week you could potentially bench Trippier because there is double game week players like Trent, like Shaw, Estupinian, etc. But going forward till the end of the season, I will still probably keep Trippier, if I'm being honest, because looking at the fixtures, Arsenal, Leeds, Brighton, Leicester, Chelsea, they don't look the easiest. Some of those games, like maybe Arsenal, but I can still see Newcastle winning most of these games. And look, they're third now. And the way Man United are playing, the way Newcastle are playing, you probably expect Newcastle to get third. So I still would hold Trippier till the end of the season. But I'd go double Newcastle attack, I think, and keep Trippier. Jordan, would you keep Trippier or?
Oh yeah, definitely would keep Trippier. No, wouldn't have a hesitation of getting rid of him.
Makes sense. You Liverpool fans? Yep, I am. Jordan, Man United. For the third Liverpool spot between Robbo, Gakpo, and Jota, who are you choosing? I'm thinking of Robbo. Robbo for the minutes. He'll play 90 minutes both, I think. Gakpo's playing really well. I've been impressed with Gakpo recently. As a player, I think his link-up play is a lot more nicer. It's more cleaner. He's getting involved in the attack. I thought he was Liverpool's best attacker against West Ham. I thought he was brilliant against West Ham, a lot better than Salah and Jota were. But Jota has that knack of scoring goals, as we've seen, 4 goals in his last 2 games. So upside, I would still go Jota, I think. But Robbo for the minutes, I guess. It's a tough one. But I think I would go with Jota. What about you, Jordan? Robbo, Gakpo, Jota, would you, if you had to pick one of them?
Probably go Gakpo. I'm not too sure about Jota. I think from his goals, not to be like off-putting with Jota, but 2 of them were from defensive errors, which I think were against Wolves. And I think Jota was just in the right place at the right time for those goals. But
that's the player he is.
Yeah, he's the player. He's like Firmino, similar to Firmino. He's in the right place at the right time, and he gets those goals if he gets those chances. But I mean, I have a warmer feeling with Gakpo. I don't know if that's because he did score in the other.
Yeah, he scored a nice goal against West Ham.
Yeah, and he's that kind of player that can create chances but also score as well at the same time. And yeah, I'll probably prefer Gakpo.
The only thing I will say is Gakpo takes up a midfielder slot, whereas Jota's a striker. So there's players like Watkins who you can sell to get Jota in. Whereas in midfield, if you want KDB, Salah, Rashford, double Brighton, etc., it's hard to fit in another midfielder. So I think for me, I'd keep the midfield. Like if I show you guys my midfield, I'd want double Brighton, Man United, Liverpool, and Man City, and then I have the spot for a striker. So that's the only reason why I'd go Jota. It depends on your team. Maybe you're not a fan of the midfield I have right now, and you'd rather have someone else in midfield. Animation says I'll have 10 doublers. Only thing is whether or not to play Isak or Trippier. Currently starting Isak. I'd probably play Isak, but benching does worry me. But that might mean because he's been benched this game week, he should be fine for next game week. So it's hard to say right now whether who you think will play, but I'd go with Isak as well. I'll play the attacking player, I think. I owned Martial in my wildcard 33. Next bench boost 34. If I sold him, who to bring in for 6.9? Who are you bringing in for 6.9, Jordan?
How much is Isak?
Isak, let me just check again. It's not much, right? Wilson is 6.9. Isak is 6.8. So any of those two could be fine, like long term, but they don't double this week. Alvarez obviously doesn't. You might not start, but if he's 6 million, I don't know. I mean, longer term, I think Isak probably that under 7 million price bracket.
Yeah, I'd probably say Isak or Wilson. I'll probably go with the gamble, whether one doesn't play or not.
Solanke has Leeds, who's a very cheap striker if you need to take money at your team. No double again. If you want a double game week player, I mean, it's hard because Jota's the only one I can think of, striker that's got a decent double coming up in 34. But if you don't care about that, then Wilson or Isak. But it's hard to say now who's going to start that game.
We could go risky with a Brighton forward. Like, I don't know if Welbeck is back or not, but there's also Ferguson too between those two.
I mean, Ferguson's still out, isn't he?
Oh, is he out as well?
Yeah, he's still out. He won't be fit. He's got a 75% chance of playing. He didn't play tonight or last night, I should say. He didn't play in the semi-final either. So
what about Welbeck?
Welbeck did play, I think, last night. No, he came on for 17 minutes. So that is a worry as well with Welbeck.
So he played up front for Brighton.
I'll have to check because I'm not. I think they had maybe Undav, possibly, but I'll have to because Undav isn't great. If I'm being honest. Oh, sorry, they played Enciso.
He did score.
Yeah,
that Brighton goal.
He scored against Chelsea in game week 31. So yeah, Enciso is a player that you could take a punt on, but then you don't know if Ferguson's fit, then Enciso will get drop out again. But could take a punt on someone like Enciso, only 4.6 million. If you hear that, if he's gonna play those matches, it could be a good differential. A very low owned 0.7% as well.
Yeah, he could be the massive clutch in that double if he is to play.
All right, we'll take one more question, I think, and we're going to wrap it up because it's quite late as well. We've been streaming it under an hour. I'm going to see what question to take. We'll do this one. Could you see Diaz or Darwin starting one of the games? Are they fit enough to start, though? I can see them starting one of the games, especially Darwin. I could see Darwin maybe playing Tottenham, possibly, because Liverpool have played a lot of games with the same front line. Obviously, Salah, Gakpo, and Jota has been the preferred front three for Liverpool. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Darwin comes in for one of those games for maybe someone like a Jota, even a Gakpo. But it's hard to say right now because with Liverpool, one thing that as we see with many teams, even Arsenal and even Liverpool, Man United. I think Ten Hag said it the other day. Ten Hag actually came out and said like Man United haven't been able to play the same starting 11 all season. Like, you know, the consistency. Liverpool have now managed to play a similar team. I think Liverpool have kept the same team pretty much near enough for the last 3 or 4 games, and they've had 3 wins in a row. So having the same players each week does help. And I think Liverpool now have come onto a system where it's working for them. The same players are playing well. And if it's not broke, then don't really fix it. And I think that's the method Klopp's going for. And I think Jota, Darwin, Salah is the way right now. They did ask him about Nunes. Klopp actually said Nunes obviously still a work in progress, because obviously Nunes, I think he actually mentioned Nunes' lack of English. Klopp said Nunes still doesn't understand English really at all, and he's still trying to like get up to speed with that and the link up. So maybe, you know, in that sense, he's more of a project. So I think it seems like Jota is preferred now, and even Gakpo. So I still think Nunes is going to be a big player for Liverpool next season, even though he has a lot of doubters, etc., and a lot of eyebrows raised. But I think we'll probably see the best of Nunes next season, even though I think he's done okay in certain games when he's played. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does start one, to be fair. But yeah, I don't know if that's answered your question, but yeah, hopefully it does. But yeah, that's it from us. I think we're going to wrap it up here, Jordan. It's been a decent stream. But yeah, that's it really. Game week 33 is out the way. We'll be back again for game week 34 deadline, which is Saturday. So make sure you guys are tuned in for that. We are going to go live, I think, tomorrow as well, aren't we, for the team selection? I think.
Yeah, that is right. That's come quick.
So yeah, team selection video tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time. Make sure you guys do stay tuned for that. And then Saturday is a deadline stream. So yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you for all your comments as well in the chat. It's been a lively chat today. And thank you all for getting involved. If you haven't already, make sure you smash the like button. If you aren't subscribed yet, what are you doing, guys? Make sure you do subscribe as well if you can, please. That helps us out a lot on the channel. And yeah, anything else you want to add, Jordan, before we have to wrap it up? That's
pretty much everything summed up. So everyone take care. Have a good night or evening or morning. And we'll see you tomorrow for the team selection.